What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope you're all enjoying your day today. Let's go ahead and just dive right into our daily cryptocurrency content and analytics for today. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin being the top performing cryptocurrency since January of 2017. If you're a long-term investor of Bitcoin, you must be doing very well. And then looking at the Bitcoin technical analysis as well as some headlines today, let's first dive into the TA here. You can see with Bitcoin, we bounced right on top or right below that exponential moving average, which is depicted here in red, showing signs of weakness down at these lower levels. So we're going to have to watch and see what happens with this RSI, as we never crossed above 40 yet, which means we may now see this RSI dip back down to that 30, possibly double bottoming as we saw previously before seeing any higher highs. So we're going to be watching this RSI level right here below 40, and we're going to see whether or not we can break that 40, knowing that that is a neutral zone. We want to eventually go above and ideally see this RSI, hopefully, even if it drops back and double bottoms, go back up here, maybe see a little bit of resistance, but then finally break through that 40 and then find support alongside that RSI. And that would be the ideal scenario for us to see with this RSI movement. And I think the RSI is the best indicator to watch right now on the daily to determine where Bitcoin is headed. Understand that we still have a little bit of a cushion right now for us to double bottom around 6,000, as we had previously saw a bottom of around those levels. So we pretty much have a gap between 6,000 and 7,300 for us to go down. And then once we see that sell-off, we'll most likely exhaust the majority of the sellers here on the histogram, therefore allowing Bitcoin to finally see its swing high occur to the higher side of this pennant, which doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the breakout period. We can still see a retracement from that known resistance of around 10,000 before seeing any sort of breakout to all-time highs. So hopefully that was a good understanding of where we're currently at with this market. A couple headlines I do want to talk about. You can see here, Wall Street is losing young talents to the crypto industry. So if you guys don't know, Consensus recently happened here in New York, one of the largest cryptocurrency conferences. And from the team from Sniper's Tube that were on the ground at Consensus, what I got from them was the fact that the majority of the people there were either extreme hardcore cryptocurrency fans or Wall Street suit and tie individuals and professionals and corporate individuals. And the cool thing about it is the fact that the majority of the booths there were actually by banks and hedge funds, being the fact that they obviously have a lot of capital, but also because of their interest in this market. And we're seeing here a lot of young talent going into the cryptocurrency world rather than just sticking to Wall Street. So it's going to be exciting to see as more jobs occur here within this marketplace. And then you can see another headline here, one of our topics in the title of this video: Bitcoin remains the best performing cryptocurrency, up 700% since January 1st, 2017. And I wanted to talk about this article because I think there are a couple of lessons to be learned in this article. You see here, it says Bitcoin down 50% this year, but still up 700% since the 1st of January in 2017. So I want to give some of you perspective, because January 1st, 2017 wasn't that long ago. And if you see in this article, it says here, early Bitcoin adopters are doing very well. Even if they had to suffer long bear market periods, financial investors always advise diversifying. You know, we actually had a little bit of a debate yesterday in the comments. People were like, I don't think diversification is a good thing in this market. Well, guess what? You can even see here, it says, as an investor, you'll probably need a mix of long-term and short-term vehicles. By knowing the differences between these two categories, you should have a good idea of what to expect from your investments. And that's something we've talked about in Sniper's Tube for so long. It's diversification, allocating your assets properly, not betting everything, but putting all your eggs in one basket, right? You see, it says, and this knowledge can help you make those choices that are right for you, because trading is all about choices, making the right choices. My mentor taught me this very early on in trading. Said, Naeem, a trade is a choice that you make. You have to initiate the trade before the trade happens. So understand that every trade you make is a choice that you're making. All you need to do is make good choices. And the more good choices you make, the more profits you make, thereby resulting in higher profit levels and for you to succeed in this market. So another headline article here: South Korea officially recognizes cryptocurrency as an asset with measurable value. That's another huge feat here in the cryptocurrency world. Remember, we're looking for mass adoption, and it's cool to see a country like South Korea. If you don't know, South Korea is one of the most I would call them the most adapted to cryptocurrencies right now. They have tons of retail stores that accept cryptocurrencies, but the reason they're so adaptable to cryptocurrencies is the fact that they have such a prominent gaming community, and because they're used to digital cash and they're used to like RuneScape dollars, League of Legend dollars or whatever, World of Warcraft dollars, whatever the currency in those games are. They are, they're comfortable with utilizing cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, which I think that for the majority of the world, especially with some of you, I guess you can call them laggards, right? Individuals that are not necessarily on the forefront of technology. It's going to take some time for them to get used to this digital currency, this digital revolution. But in my opinion, it's something that's necessary. But as we start to kind of shave off the older folks in the world, I think the younger crowds will definitely be able to adopt this type of currency, knowing that the majority of younger folks are on their iPads and their phones right now, and they're just so used to utilizing this mobile device on a daily basis. So it's not going to be too much of a transition once the whole world is on digital currencies and cryptocurrencies, which is why I'm extremely bullish about this market. And I love this market. So another awesome news or announcement here: Tron's mainnet launching in less than 10 hours. There's going to be a live stream. You can see we've got over 686 people waiting right now, and I highly recommend you guys check that out. We'll have the link in the description below. But the Tron mainnet will be launching soon, and it's only going to be whether or not Tron's price is going to go up or down during this mainnet. So let's see what everyone has to say here in the chat. IPS says, diversification has kept me in profit through this bear market since January. Not as much in profit as I was, but no loss. That's a good thing. That is awesome. I love hearing that. Dave Hubner says, what up, Naeem from Australia? I'm at work, but tuned in on my phone. Love the live talk. That is awesome, man. Get your knowledge on the go. If you guys don't know, by the way, we have our Discord app, and this is a free resource and community. It's a 24/7 trading community available for you guys for free. The link is in the description below. We also have a premium version of it where we post daily technical analysis, daily trend signals, and daily market updates. And that could be found under patreon.com/snipers or under purchase premium in the Discord. But I highly recommend you guys get on our Discord, utilize the tools and the free resources that are available there for you. And that is for those of you that don't know about it. But let's see what, so somebody says day off today and this is all I'm doing. Absolutely. I am loving the market right now. We're consolidating right around that 7,500 with Bitcoin. And in my opinion, even if it sees a little bit more of a drop, we still have a little bit of a cushion right now. And we can see that RSI double bottom at 30. That would be the most ideal situation for Bitcoin before seeing that reversal. But here's the point here. Understand this, each and every one of you watching this video right now. Think about this. Every time Bitcoin has hit under 30 in RSI, look what has happened, right? Every single time we've swung back and seen a high. We've swung back and seen a high, right? We've swung back and seen a high. We've swung back and seen a high. Every single time we've swung back and seen a high. We've swung back and seen a high. Well, guess what? It's only a matter of time before we swing back and see a high. So if your positions are down right now, if you're not making profit in this market, if this market isn't, attractive to you right now, guess what? It's your time to make some money. I think over the next few days, dollar cost averaging your position into Bitcoin is probably the smartest decision. Yes, you might not get it at the all-time low. If you want to wait for the all-time low, you can give it a little bit of a couple days, but at the end of the day, it's going to swing back. That's the point of the matter. If we were to make this into a song, we should probably do it. It's going to swing back. It's going to swing back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to swing back. So we're fine. Do you guys agree with me or not? Like, people panic for no reason. They're like, they expect it not to swing back, but when has it not swung back? You know what I'm saying? Are you guys with me or not? Aldo says yes. Maximus says swing lower, LOL. Dom says it's gonna swing back, baby. Poolville02 says yup. M-Dog has a question. He says, please explain, if institution investors buy over the counter, then how would the prices go up? Retail investors, sorry for my lack of knowledge. Well, not everybody does OTC transactions. There's OTC desks and stuff where you can do OTC transactions. Oh my gosh, by the way, my pennant here is not looking good. What the heck is going on here? These resistance levels are kind of off here. Let me fix this pennant. Bam. That's the pennant right there. Woo! Man. Technical analysts. We have some, I guess you could call them nuances that we have to make sure is correct. Somebody says, Naeem, I'd like to get you to 1 million MMAPGX tokens. May I have your My Ether wallet deposit address, please? I think your channel is awesome. Well, you can message me on Twitter even, or Evan at Snipers2, and then I'll send you my Ether wallet deposit address. You know why? Because I understand this market, and you can send deposit address to anyone and nothing can happen, right? You know, people don't understand this market, and we have to educate people about this market. People don't understand wallet addresses. I actually was at a conference, and the CEO of this Peruvian exchange said that people were inserting their street address in the box that said wallet address when they were depositing and withdrawing coins. So people would buy coins and then put their street address because they didn't know what a wallet address was. It said address, so then their subconscious said, okay, you're at my street address, right? So it's like we have to educate people on how to utilize this technology. Like, you don't want to ever send your private key, but you can send your public key, right? Because your public key is public. You can send your deposit and withdrawal address because that's how people can send and receive money through your wallet, right? So people have to be educated about that type of stuff, in my opinion. Everybody's saying LMFAO. Can I get your private wallet address? I'm fine, Maximus. I'd rather not. Somebody says 1,000 likes for a swinger poll. I'm sorry, that's kind of inappropriate. Peter says, how is OTC working? How does it influence price in the end? You know, over-the-counter transactions are where a buyer and seller will directly transact Bitcoin with each other, pretty much, right? But it's such a scammy market. It's such a unreliable market. It's such a weird market that a lot of people don't necessarily like to do OTC transactions, but it definitely affects the market. I think that over time, you'll see less and less OTC transactions as regulations and things mature. So it's just part of this early market adoption, right? You have to be willing to deal with what an early market deals with, right? Which is everything we're dealing with right now. So hopefully that helps out. Maximus says, dang, I tried. Compass Pest Control says, I work in pest control seasons and cycles, and I find it interesting why they call things ecosystems and organic revolving around cryptocurrencies. There are patterns. Yeah, everything in life has patterns, right? Like Fibonacci retracements, like that's a pattern. Like right now, I can show you a pattern, right? This is an arithmetically validated pattern here, right? It's called the Fibonacci retracement, right? Everything follows patterns. So like, for example, if we were to take this top right here and go to this bottom, you can see how these price levels, they correlate with each other, right? There are price correlations. We can actually go down to this bottom here so that we can see a little bit more of an in-depth view. And you can see here, like for example, actually, let's draw the Fibonacci down to this previous resistance. Bam. So like if we were to draw out this Fibonacci retracement, you can see how it respects the math, right? Like we find resistance or support right along that 0.23, right? We end up finding resistance at the top of this Fibonacci at the 0.5, right? As soon as we break through the 0.5, we ended up bouncing all the way on top, then seeing resistance at the 0.61, right? So all of this is data, right? Cool thing here, you drop below the EMA. You see this red line here? As soon as we drop below this EMA, guess what happened? Price started to crash, right? And same thing that we're seeing right now. We're not going above that red EMA line. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me that Bitcoin is being pushed down right now and it's not seeing strength at these levels. We're seeing a lack of volume, right? So there are still things in this market that we need to see in order to be confident that we're going to start heading up. But at the end of the day, we still have enough of a cushion to go down to at least, at most 6,000 before seeing this next trend back up or this swing high occur, right? Because the opportunity lies in these swings, right? You buy low, you sell high. You buy low, you sell high. And that's really where the opportunity lies. So let's say you put in $100 right now, your dollar cost averaging, and that turns into 150 in 5 or 6 days. Well, take out your initial investment of $100 and then leave your 50 in there. Now you have free coins in the market. It's called playing house money. So that's the point here. Even says, I just smashed the likes button. Awesome. Hopefully you don't smash it and break it. Don't break the like button, guys. Leah Cell says, hi, Naeem. Is now a good time to enter ADA or should I wait? I'm very discouraged at the moment. Keep making bad moves in this market. Well, there's only so many more bad moves you can make until we start seeing this whole market start to swing back up. So if you've got positions, what I like about EDA is you can see we've broke through that resistance here. And we talked about Cardano being a buy 2 or 3 days ago, right? Before we saw this exponential run up, you could see we've got this very bullish reversal pattern here as well. And in my opinion, we're going to start forming that cup pattern. So I think it is a good time to start dollar cost averaging into Cardano. Not only that, you can see we're seeing a clear MACD crossover here as well. Sellers are exhausted. I think Cardano is one of the most bullish charts in this market right now. I talked about that 2 live streams ago, and if you would have followed that, you would have been in the positive and in the green right now, because guess what? We're going up and we're continuing to go up. And the reason I say that is you can see volume is increasing with the buyers. I like that. RSI already broke into the neutral zone. MACD starting to cross over. Everything looks bullish here. We're above the EMA now. Remember that? We talked about confirming by being above that EMA. Look, that EMA is pointing up. If you guys don't know how to use the EMA, it's almost like a predictor of price, right? You can see how now it's pointing up. When EMA is pointing up, it's extremely bullish. When it's pointing down, it's bearish. So you can see how we're starting to curve and point up. And that is an indicator of a reversal. You can see this bullish reversal wick here. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But in my opinion, it's a good time to get into Cardano. You can see we formed an initial fractal cup here, and then we're going to form another fractal cup. Makes a lot of sense here. Maximus says, I'm waiting on your call on Sys to make a bull run. SYS, BTC, Syscoin. Yeah, we're all waiting for Syscoin, aren't we? But give it a little bit of time. You know, RSI is still kind of chilling there along the neutral zone. MACD is just kind of chilling. Just give it a little bit of time. I think it'll reverse along with the overall market. Any other requests here? Do you guys have any coin requests you guys want to look at? Any technical analysis here? Somebody says TRX. Somebody says XVG. Somebody says Theta. I've never seen Theta. Somebody says EOS. Tirian says EOS. Hourglass says thoughts on Icon. I love Icon. It's a project that we called out several days ago, and you can see with Icon right now, if we pull up Satoshi value, we had a huge bullish reversal here with a nice amount of volume coming out of nowhere. We bottomed out at 30. So it's a coin that we've been talking about. Also expect this to start forming that fractal formation as well soon. So it's looking really good. We're seeing resistance at that EMA. If you want a little bit more confirmation with Icon, then wait for it to go above that EMA to confirm bullish. Somebody says EOS. Let's do EOS BTC. Somebody says ontology. What do you think about PivX? Wow, tons of questions. Can you tell us about 0x? We got Daniel on the line, Mo, Dom, DigiClear 333, Chaz, Kalina, Mike K in the house, Daniel in the house, Brino in the house. Somebody says, if you hit 400 likes, will you interview Vitalik Buterin? Yes. If we hit 400 likes, we'll interview Vitalik Buterin. That would be really fun. Imagine that. And now the likes are going up. People like Vitalik. I like that. Somebody said, very bullish on Icon as well. Vishal says, hello, sir. Farouk says, Theta is up 40%. All right, let's do EOS. EOS is doing something quite expected. We talked about this EMA starting to converge with that 50-day moving average, and it's looking like we're entering a consolidation period with Tron or EOS. You can see we've got a descending resistance level here. You've got this somewhat of a even support level. We don't necessarily have a descending. I wouldn't call this a descending support level just yet, or even an ascending support level. I would just call it a neutral. This is a descending triangle formation, quite bearish. However, at the same time, you have to understand that we saw quite a bit of exuberance with EOS. If I were a trader, I would set up stop losses for EOS right around that 136,000 Satoshi range, because if it breaks down from that support level, it's most likely going to break down to further lows. But in my expectation right now, I want EOS to start forming this cup here, this overall cup. And that's what I'm hoping happens right now. Because if we can form a cup, find resistance, post mainnet launch, form that handle, and then break out to new highs, that would be the most ideal situation for EOS. And that's what I'm waiting for. To be honest, it is in a weird position because the mainnet launch is coming out soon. The market is still bearish, about to turn bullish. And then it's sitting right on top of the EMA and the moving average. So it's in a weird position. One thing I will tell you is this. Another way you can play this is put in positions right now, because obviously we like EOS. We know it's a great project. We know it's a bullish project. It's something that I'm long on, and it's something you should be long on, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, we want to be properly managing our risk. So what we can do is set up stop losses amongst that 50-day moving average here. So you've got this red line here, which represents the 50-day. And knowing that the 50-day in the past has acted as a point in which EOS saw a huge amount of buyers come in, I think that knowing that that is a support level. We can be confident in setting up trades and dollar cost averaging right now while it's above that EMA, and then still above that 50-day. And then if it drops below that, then that could be our first indication at which we might expect further lows. And that's when you want to exit your position. So I would be careful, but understand at the end of the day, if we continue to form this cup, we're most likely not going to go below that 50-day. And if you have your stop loss set that 50-day, then you'll be safe with EOS. That's the best way to play this. And then let's do that same thing for Tron, because everybody's watching Tron. Obviously, the mainnet's coming out soon, so we might as well do a Tron analysis. And I would say the same exact thing with Tron. If you want to start getting your position into Tron, set up your positions right, but then also set up a stop loss at that 50-day. You can see these wicks jumped right on top of that 50-day. So it's an obvious support level, right? And Tron is kind of in that weird situation as well. I'm going to be honest. It's an uncertain situation because fundamentally and technically, they're two opposites, right? Fundamentally, you want to buy the hype and sell the news. So we'd say we want to sell, but then technically, we know that we're going to see a reversal in this market soon. So it's bullish, right? So these two different directions are kind of battling each other, and we have to be cautious and aware of that. So in order to do that, I would manage your risk with that 50-day moving average on both of these plays. And I hope that could help some of you guys. That's my best advice if you guys are trading these coins right now. Because remember, if we see a sell-off, just like we saw with Verge, right? XVG, in anticipation of their launch, we saw this huge sell-off. If you would have use that EMA here as an indicator of whether or not you were going to set up stop losses, and you would have been able to save yourself and then sell out before we went under 1,000 Satoshis. But now you can see we're at 509 Satoshis. So you could have saved half your investment if you would have used an indicator like the EMA, for example, to know whether or not we're going to go bearish or bullish. So you can see as soon as we drop below that EMA, it was time to get out. So hopefully that helps out. Paul says TRX is better than sex. I don't know what you think about that. Maximus says bought TRX at 2 cents, still holding. Cryptology, CyberMiles has been pumping quite a bit, not sure why. Peter says, Naeem, I like how you vary the indicators on different streams. Keep it fresh. Absolutely. K San says, can you go over token mitigation for EOS and TRX with mainnet around the corner? I would just research that. We posted multiple posts on our Discord about how to migrate your tokens properly, but make sure you guys do that. Indian says, why we need to set up stop loss and lose our money? I can just hodl even if it's going down. Yeah, you can do that if you want. It depends on what type of position you're putting in, right? Because at the same time, you don't want to hold a bleeding portfolio or a bleeding wallet. Why bleed out your portfolio if you can save yourself some income, right? So it's about preserving money and also gaining capital and gaining profits. Kevin, interesting comment, says, I think the most important thing everyone needs to understand is that you cannot truly analyze altcoins aside from Bitcoin. Bitcoin will ultimately control the price of every other coin. So what I would say to that is always use Bitcoin as your initial indicator entering this market. So if you're entering this market and entering this altcoin market, be aware of what cycle or where this market is in regards to its cycle. And you can do that by looking at Bitcoin. So first determine the cycle we're in and then determine whether or not you want to trade those altcoins. So before you do TA with altcoins, do your TA with Bitcoin first as that initial indicator. Paul Adams says true. Raphael says, I sent $2. What are your thoughts on CMT? Let's do CMT. Thank you for the super chat, Raphael. We'll do a CyberMiles analysis here. So I don't really like the way this chart is going. We're obviously seeing this ascending support line, but if we were to remove this and look at this area here, you can see we've been at these overbought levels for quite some time. Something we recently saw with Ethereum. Do you guys remember when I predicted Ethereum was going to crash because all I did was measure the amount of days we were at these overbought levels? Who here remembers that? Say I in the chat. Remember we talked about Ethereum being overbought for 30 days, and that was a red flag because last time we were bought for 30 days, we crashed. Who remembers that? Say I in the chat. Somebody says, nobody said I. There you go. Tyrant said I. Julie Franklin said I. Danny said I. Peter said I. Dave said I. Nico said I. I'm actually going to give away a book to somebody that said I, because that means you guys are paying attention to our live streams on a consistent basis, which I really appreciate. Thank you for that support. Dawn, no, she said A. Sorry, I was going to pick Dawn Bernice, but she said A. She didn't say I. Let's see here. Somebody that we haven't picked before. Leah Sell Mitchell. Leah Mitchell, send me a message on Twitter at Sniper soon. You got a book. But we talked about this in our live stream for about 3 live streams straight. And that was Ethereum was at these overbought levels for over or approaching 30 days. And the last time we were at these overbought levels for 30 days, we crashed. The last time we were at these levels before that crash, it was the same exact thing, about 30 days, and we crashed, right? About 30 days, and then we crashed, right? So knowing that we crash after about 30 days, I don't like when we're at overbought levels for too long. So if you look at CMT BTC, well, we've been overbought for quite a while now, right? A lot more than 30 days here. In this case, we've been overbought for almost 41 days. So in my opinion, there's only so much more our market's going to go higher with this type of coin, especially because guess what? It acted as a hedge against Bitcoin, which means that it was acting inversely to Bitcoin. As Bitcoin was dropping, it was going up. So now that we're expecting Bitcoin swing high, I would say that we're going to expect this to swing low. So hopefully that helps. We might end up forming a cup here. This is what I would expect. You can see this right here, major sell-off, a great indicator of a possible reversal. So I'd expect we'd possibly form a fractal cup here as well. So I would get out of this position right now. Also, we're about to head below that EMA. If we head below that EMA, it's a guaranteed drop. Raphael said, actually sold my ETH due to your wit. Lovely gains. Awesome. So you sold your Ethereum when I mentioned that it was most likely going to drop. That's great. Somebody says 300 likes and you pour LaCroix off. Dude, you guys love when I pour this LaCroix over me. By the way, I haven't even popped the LaCroix and you want me to pour it on me already. But 300 likes, how many viewers are we at? 315? We'll take it. I'll take it. 300 likes, we'll pour this over the top of my head again. This time with the jacket on for 300 likes. I'll take it. I'm a man of my world. Of my word. I'm sorry. It's not cold this time, so I'd rather do it. Somebody says, what flavor you got? This is grapefruit, I believe. David says 200 likes. Jockin says, by the way, the big buy bar on EOS history, was it manipulated? EOS, BTC. Well, this is how you can check whether something is manipulated or not. You want to look at these volume levels, right? So you can see right here, this right here was obvious. Either insider trading, institutional money, market makers, individuals that have large sums of liquidity and cash to put in. That was obviously a period in time where they invested into EOS, right? Because you can see these just random levels of volume. And the way you can determine is just look at the peak amount of average volume, right? So anything above this level is probably going to indicate institutional buying, right? Here, here, here. Now, one thing you notice is we haven't seen institutional buying at these higher levels, right? Is that a cause of concern? Well, it could be, but I expect us to see higher volume sometime soon. You know, you can also correlate that with this. You can see average volume typically peaks out around this time. So this right here could be considered institutional buying right here. Some of these large buy volume candlesticks, but this was a bullish time in the market, so that couldn't correlate or possibly could correlate. But what I do like about EOS is we're starting to see this MACD quite oversold, overstretched. And right here with this RSI, we're still in the neutral zone. I would say, once again, with EOS, watch that 50-day moving average and set up your stop loss there just to be safe no matter what. Raphael says, EOS is my main investment right now. Crossed fingers for launch of net. Absolutely. Leosel, awesome. That works. You can message me on Discord. Sandra says, good evening. I just arrived. Welcome. What are we at in terms of like? Do I have to pour this down my 132 likes? All right. Thank God. So I guess we have a lazy audience today. I call you all lazy. We're only at 132 likes with 300 plus viewers. Come on. Show your love. Show your support. Marcus says, Binance listing is why Theta is pumping. Well, that explains it. Joachim says, thank you, Naeem. You're very welcome. So any other questions, any other concerns before we wrap this baby up? Anything that we haven't covered yet? Any questions lingering in your mind? Let's see. Whoever has the most logical question, I will answer. Tails says, my dear God, looking LaCroix addicted friend, what is your take on Zilliqa, Cardano, Credits, Fusion, and WanChain? That's my whole portfolio, and I'm really worried. I wouldn't be worried. Seems like a good portfolio. Credits, I'd be a little bit cautious with. We don't know 100% what their legitimacy is, I guess you can say, because they haven't really launched too many MVPs. They don't have an active community, but it's still a speculative project. I would say the same thing with Fusion, but Zilliqa, Cardano, and WanChain are bets. I mean, those are long-term holds for me too, so I wouldn't say anything is good with that. Aldo says European banks are starting to crumble. Remember, guys, these these financial markets are going to go down, in my opinion. I mean, we've seen this happen multiple times in history, right? I mean, think about all the crazy stuff you've read in your history books, right? Why hasn't anything crazy happened in your present time? Well, guess what? I think this is going to be one of those times. Is that kind of scary? Did that scare anybody? I'm not trying to scare, instill any fear, but that's the truth of the nature, right? In your history books, you read about all these crazy times, right? Like the depression period, the blackout period, all these random things. And like, what about our current time? Are we not susceptible to that anymore? No, we are susceptible to it. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, a digital revolution, a digital currency revolution where financial markets will be taken down by cryptocurrency and user-based markets, and tokenization will take over markets rather than gaining or giving away equity. You tokenize things, right? Raise funds through tokens. Raphael says, do you guys agree with me, by the way? Yay or nay on the chat? Raphael says, yes, open. It will affect EOS and ETH as predicted. Will it affect EOS and ETH as predicted? I'm not sure what you mean, Raphael. But I would say that with Tron and EOS and their mainnet launching soon, it's going to be kind of hard to determine what's going to happen because, like I said, fundamentally, you want to buy the hype and sell the news, so you really want to sell. But at the same time, in a technical sense, we're very bullish in the next coming weeks because, remember, we're expecting a reversal. By the way, if you guys are not following us on Twitter, twitter.com/sniperstube, we posted this interesting little picture the other day. I don't know who saw it, but it was pretty much what happens to the market at every 6 of the month. And you can see this picture here that we posted yesterday for those of you following us on Twitter. If not, it's at SnipersTube. But check this out right here. So this right here is what I was referring to. And you can see on this photo, January 6th, reversal to the low. February 6th, reversal to the high. March 6th, reversal to the low. April 6th, reversal to the high. May 6th, reversal to the low. And now we're expecting June 6th, reversal to the high. That also coincides with what we talked about with the RSI. We have a little bit of room to go with BTC. If we see BTC drop a little bit more, no big deal. We have until about 6,000 of a cushion to confirm a triple bottom or even a, double bottom. But I would expect somewhat of a triple bottom to occur before seeing that true reversal to the higher side of the pennant where we can go ahead and make those gains. Knowing the RSI is completely oversold, I'm expecting this type of pattern. Once we double bottom this RSI, if that's the case, then we're going to most likely bounce resistance at 40, go above 40, pierce through, and then find support at 40. That's what I'm expecting and waiting for. Vinci says, you are a very fine gentleman. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Raphael says, I don't know if you've looked into it. It's a very new coin, but from what I was reading, said it was very likely to compare to EOS and ETH due to ease of use. Oh, interesting. I've never looked into that. I will look into that. That's an interesting coin. Yeah. I mean, we hear a lot of that. Remember, there's tons of ecosystem coins, tons of infrastructure coins. Mohammed Ibrahim says, 200 likes for Bitcoin beard. You always say that. I'm not doing that for 200 likes. For 200 likes, we'll give away a book. How about that? We're at 170. So we need 30 more likes. We'll give away a book before we wrap this live stream up. I will definitely do that. Joachim says, if MACD is low and RSI is oversold, and if you look at stock RSI and it's low, but it doesn't go up after, can you explain? I'm not sure. You're saying a lot of different things at once. Maximus says, you think July we're going to see a bull market all the way to December? I wouldn't say all the way to December because especially with the fact that you can short this market and leverage and then ETFs coming out soon, I would say that it would take a little bit more of a bullish bearish cycle up rather than just a bullish cycle up the way we saw it go up to 20,000. I would say it'd be a little bit different. I'm expecting consolidation. My overall thesis is we're going to consolidate here, right? Consolidate before seeing the rise. And that rise is really going to come, in my opinion, from a major announcement from a government institutions about some sort of groundbreaking regulatory advancement in this market. And that's what's going to instill confidence and then allow this to become a true asset class to hedge your money in regards to traditional markets and commodities and equity markets and things like that. This will become its own market, which is the cryptocurrency market. Somebody says, please go research it. Absolutely. Noah said, all right, done paying good questions only to be ignored for beard questions. Noah, I'm not ignoring you. Don't feel so cynical. People are so self-absorbed. They're like, he's ignoring me. I'm not ignoring you. I have hundreds of messages in the chat box. Let's see what your question was. What happens if we break BTC's triple bottom? No one wants to talk about it, but it's no good to be prepared. But it's good to be prepared. That's a good question. Well, I would say this: if it breaks breaks that bottom, I would have a little bit more of a concern in this market, right? I would personally, I would hold my long-term positions just because I'm so confident in them. Of course, I would say that, you know, we wouldn't see anything significantly lower than where we're at right now if we break that triple bottom. I think that it wouldn't be as dramatic as you think it'd be, but it would still be a emotional barrier for people. I just don't expect that to happen because RSI is way too oversold for that to happen right now. That would mean this RSI would have to pretty much come off the chart down to like these crazy lower levels. I just don't expect that to happen with Bitcoin. Remember, there's unlimited fiat in the world, but there's a limited amount of Bitcoin in the world. If somebody ever asks you what's Bitcoin, just say that to them. Say, well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to tell you what Bitcoin is, but what I will tell you is the government can print as much of those US dollars as you want, but you can't make any more Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? So we've got the leverage here. Vince says 7 more likes. Come on. Julie says 6 likes away from 200. Rumber says, in order for EOS tokens to change when launch happens, if we haven't registered them, do we need to keep them in the Binance exchange, all of them? Rumber, I think you can Google that. I don't want to give misinformation because there's a lot of ways to do it. But we posted a couple different ways on our Discord. Peter says, what is the #1 catalyst to bring in volume in your opinion, Naeem? I would say confidence in regulations. I think that's why people are the most hesitant. But we just recently saw Zimbabwe lift their Bitcoin ban. Well, you know, we talked about today, you know, Wall Street jobs, you know, pretty much being taken away by cryptocurrency jobs. South Korea officially, you can see here, officially recognizes cryptocurrency as an asset with measurable value. So all those things I think need to build up for us to see confidence in regulations. Somebody says, got to stop the market manipulating. When we see more liquidity, that will pretty much even itself out. So let's do a book giveaway here. So here's the book giveaway. I am going to ask a question to see who is paying attention to our live stream, but the question is going to be this. What type of pattern is this forming here? What is this overall pattern in the blue? What is this overall pattern called? Where you've got a descending resistance and an ascending support level. What is the word that we typically use here on Snipers too? Better yet, what is the pattern called on our Discord? Because people can just name their own patterns. But on our Discord, if you guys don't know, this is a free resource available to everyone. I highly recommend you guys get on our Discord. I've heard testimonials of people that came into this market, had no idea what to do, came into our Discord and learned everything they needed to know to trade this market successfully. So I highly recommend you guys get on Discord. There's also a mobile version, so you can do this on the go and then just hop into our trading chat, our 24/7 community. And we also have a premium version that sends out daily technical analysis and stuff. But if you go under education and then you go under actually tools, trading patterns, we have all of our patterns here. And the answer is a pennant. So let's see who said pennant. Everybody's saying, somebody says symmetrical triangle, reversal triangle, bullish pennant, ascending wedge, apex. I'm just going to pick whoever said pennant. All right, here. Let's see. David Esteban Castro says pennant. You won, brother. And if you didn't win, just stay tuned. We give out a ton of books, guys. Sorry, I can't just send every single one of you guys books. But you guys are all like, Corey, you're right. Farouk, you're right. Key Sands, you're right. Danny, you're right. Raphael, you're right. David said, that's me. Yes, send me a message on Twitter, @SnipersTube. Paul Adams says, beat me by 1. Muhammad said, peanut. James says, pennant. All right. Barsdy says, what do you think about John McAfee's predictions? Well, let me ask you guys a question instead. What do you guys think about Data Dash's prediction? $50,000 Bitcoin. What do you guys think about that? I love the fact that he made that video. When he made that video, I'm like, that's a true YouTube influencer. I was like, I love it. I'd rather take Data Dash's opinion than John McAfee's. I can't believe I just said that. John McAfee's going to message me like, hey, dude, I heard on your live stream. Man, love it. $50,000 Bitcoin from one of the largest YouTubers about cryptocurrency. I love it. It makes sense. Danielle says very bullish. I love it. Peter says, yay for positivity, so much nicer than the bear trolls. Well, here's what I'll end this with. You all are part of the cryptocurrency revolution. You must spread the good word of cryptocurrencies. You guys can't spread fear and doubt. Continue to spread the word. Go to your small businesses in your local areas. Convince them to start accepting cryptocurrencies. Show them how to use BitPay. Some of these businesses will even pay you to do this for them. And I highly recommend you guys spread this good word. So thank you guys all for tuning in today's live stream. I think this was an awesome live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. And then we do this every single week. If you guys enjoy this, like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We do this every single day. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And with that being said, love you all. Snipers out.